Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Quiver Podcast. Today, we'll be giving you our season preview for the upcoming season 68 of the UAAP. All right. So, today, I'm joined by Gio and Alfonso to give an outlook of DLSU's um, upcoming campaign starting in a few days. So, hi, Gio. Hi, Alfonso. How's everyone?
Hi, Kiko. Hello. Good evening or good
All right.
afternoon or good morning, right?
From whenever you're listening to this. And just to say, both of these guys aren't AI. They're real life human beings. Hindi tayo, well, tayo level na ganun.
Uh,
Okay? All right. So just to recap, guys, and get into the meat of it. Um, Last year, under Derek Pumarin, it was a tough run, right? We missed the Final Four after reaching the Final Four and pushing UP the brink the season before. And that's a lot of change in the team. Now, former PBA player Topex Robinson um, is now coming into the team to coach the men's side. What was your guys' reactions when we hired Topex?
I think
Gio.
I'll probably start there, right? And I think
Yeah,
hiring Topex was a very good move for Lasalle. I think the way he brought the way he got LPU to play for a while and the way Phoenix was playing. But what I was most impressed with him was the way he developed players. And we had some players in the Archers before who played for under him in the PBA who've gotten significantly better, especially the likes of Jason Perkins. And that's a testament to his coaching. But also other players as well under him have turned to become excellent players. Like we talk about Justin Chua, who was also under him. He was a good player in Ateneo, got even better in the PBA, and as has a stellar PBA career. And that's what excites me the most, right? Like what's exciting to me the most is that developmentally, I think there's now a plan for our players for them to get better and for us to improve throughout the season, because that's where I think a big problem that we've had over the last few seasons was at. Like we always had a good lineup, a good set of players, but over the course of the season, like I did not see that much development. And that's why it was
yeah, and
easy to
just
scout. It was easy for
improving
us.
players.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a big thing for me, and I think that with Topex coming in, that's a big change. But also the culture he brings in, which
hmm
is
hmm
which has been a big issue with the Archers for a while now. Like our players have been leaving left and right. We've had some good recruits coming in and out. While that is normal in college basketball, Topex brings in a breath of fresh air, and he's probably one of the few coaches in the country who can really deal with young players nowadays. And I'm very excited to see what he can do for us, especially now that in the UAAP. He's got given us a championship in the PBAD League. We've also won the Davao tournament, beating Ateneo in the finals. And while we did lose to UP in Philoil, it's a good chance for us to. I see a lot of positives this season, and I'm very optimistic about this lineup and this team.
Okay, yeah, and that's right. I think culture is a big thing. Say year after year, bringing blue chip, sorry for the term, recruits or star recruits to the team, but it somehow doesn't come off. All right, it's been a while since our last title. We've had good players groups coming every year, but still being outplayed by um the likes of UP Ateneo. So Alfonso, from a tactical standpoint, it's not an easy um gig for Topex. First, of course, clean the crop there. Um, Tab is with Ateneo, defending champions. We all know he's overqualified for this job. Let's be honest. He's a semifinalist in the World Cup, and he's now coaching the UAP at the UAP level. How do you think Topex matches to the like of Tab and maybe Goldwyn with all the talent he has coming into UP?
Um, I think let's take Tab out of this conversation because um you said he's really overqualified for this level. Kaya hope this is his last season. If those links to Indonesia are to believe, which I think there's some substance. But against let's say against the likes of Goldwyn, Coach Gold in UP, and then we also have other great coaches with Coach Pidok coming back to UST, Coach Nash with Adamson, although they're in a rebuilding phase, while of course Coach Jack with uh, uh, one of the lead Pumaran disciples having his second season in UE. I think we got one of the best young local coaches we can get in Coach Topex. G already discussed it earlier. He's a great developer of talent, especially given his experience back in San Sebastian coaching the Calvin Agueva, Ian Sangalang led Stags, and then moving to Lyceum, taking them, sweeping the regular season with the CJ Perez and Marcelino led squad, albeit losing to San Beda. And then um, going to the PBA with the Phoenix, he was able to develop the young professionals such as Tyler Teo and Perkins, like Gio said. I think we really got a good guy. We really got. I guess it's. I don't know if it's. You guys can. Help me on this point. Is it unfair for him to have championship expectations because he got an intact lineup, albeit LaSalle always has championship expectations. So we don't know if it's fair to judge him on this lineup or in the succeeding 2, 3, or maybe even 4 years, because those are the recruits that he is bringing in. But I'm excited. I haven't been this excited for a hire since Coach Aldin Ayo, and we all know how that turned out. Championship in his first year. So with the pressing, quick, fast-paced offense. So yeah, I'm definitely way more excited for this UAP season compared to most in previous years with Topex at the helm. And his assistant coaches are high quality. I just have to add Kaloy Garcia, lead for offense, Oliver Bunyi for the bigs, and then holdovers in Coach Mon and Coach Gian, who had a big role in the D-League Championship, aside from the coaches that Topex brought. So it's really exciting times, and we're really in his honeymoon period. Let's just hope it could be fruitful at the end of the season.
Yeah, hopefully the honeymoon lasts into a long marriage. But yeah, good point about assistant coaches too. As some of our listeners knows, Alfonso is an assistant coach guru. He's very particular about assistant coaches and how they help the team. But you're right. I think it's about, while we cannot beat Tab in system what we did in 2016 with Aldinayo, you said this. He's able to maximize the talent to overcome that system. And given the talent we had, that may be the only way around Tab at Ateneo, and something we can look forward to later in the episode. Gio, you touched on earlier, we had a pretty good preseason run. We won the PBA. We defended our PBA D-League championship. We made the finals but lost to UP and Fuel Oil. And I believe we won one in Davao, right, as well, the preseason tournament in Davao. If I'm not mistaken. What do you make of our preseason? What do you like and not like about our preseason so far, Gio?
I think we tend to do good in preseason, but I think what I wanna touch base on here, there is something different about this preseason versus last year's preseason. Like, I kind of felt like last year's preseason was, hey, surprise, we have Kevin Kiambao, who's a great player, and he's taking us all the way. Hey, surprise, Evan Ellis with us, he'll take us all the way. And eventually, that combination was read. And eventually, in the UAP, that did not translate. Whereas this year, what I'm seeing is, whoa, Kevin Kiambao added this to his game. Wow, Evan Ellis playing being a great point guard, right? Wow, CJ Austria is slashing more, and of course Francis Escandor has improved greatly as well over the last few months, and that gives you a different feeling, right? Like, and it's a different feeling in the sense that, okay, we lost to UP in the Philoia finals. Did that suck? Yeah, but it was a blip, and that we could beat them, or even
we're progressing toward, we're getting better as we go along. Yeah, there's development there. You're right.
And that's the feeling we have this season. And I think that's the feeling we will continue to have. We'll probably stumble a few games here and there. We'll probably lose a few games as well, but the feeling of progression is there. And I think that's what was missing last year in last year's team was when the team decided to full court press us, we knew we were gonna lose. And we knew we had no answer to that because there was no progression towards how do we handle the full court press. And that's what made last season extremely frustrating, even though we were winning some games. I don't see that this I think that's what makes this time around different. And I would put that all on Coach Topex and how
Yeah,
he's the boys.
it's a nice feeling going the last 2 minutes with a 10-point lead and not expecting the other team to come back. Medyo trauma yun for the past um 2 seasons. You know that run is coming at the end, and it's a matter of did we have a big enough lead to hold on, diba? Alfonso, in terms of what you followed the team very closely this preseason, which are the players that really stood out to you or assess, or how do you assess their talent level?
Um, Nonoy seems liberated under topics. Actually, a lot of them do. Si Kiambao is being played as a point forward. We Michael Phillips has been trying to shoot from three, although it hasn't been that effective. Uh, Melies, I really get why Topics really wanted him to stay. So we have depth this season. I think we've had depth for the last 2 seasons naman. But I think overall what Topics has brought, I can't really single out one of them, but it's more of the vibes of the team are just you see it on the court. They love to play. There's a certain freshness that Topics has brought, and the rest of the coaching staff, and hopefully that will translate into a better record this upcoming UAP season.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you guys touched on it later. Escandor is the guy that, to be honest, I've been struggling with to see what his role was on the team for the past few years, but he's really earned this spot and brings. I think he might play a key role for us. And yeah, right. I think one of the things what you're looking forward to this season is really. One thing I want to improve on is how do we handle those end game moments better in those in the clutch, whether we're down or up. How do we manage those leads? How do we get pushed in those last 2 minutes? How do we handle those end game situations better? Hopefully, the team's maturity, a lot of veterans in the team now, um, who can help share that load, and hopefully that translates into more wins this season as we go for that final slot. Okay, so now we've talked about the team, the preseason, the new coaching changes. Let's look at the entire UAP landscape. Gio, I know with LaSalle there's no easy game. Every time it seems like when we play everyone's a contender for some reason. There are no easy games as what the past years have shown. But which other teams are you wary of looking at this UAP season 6-8?
I'm actually very worried about FEU.
Of course.
They always play well against us. I have no idea
And
why.
when they play at Ateneo, they turn into a juniors team. That's the script. Pag tayo naging national team sila.
Exactly. But in all seriousness, I think I worry the most about UP. And I think the reason why I worry about UP more than the other teams is that with Ateneo, I expect that they'll maybe stumble a little bit during the first half of the year. But they'll maybe stumble a little bit during the first half. But eventually, they get their bearings in during the second round, and all of a sudden they're an absolute different team already.
Like 2016, they're a very young team.
Yeah.
First round they were struggling. So this is different than the team. Second round they made the finals and they was a good game in those finals, right? Something
Yes.
similar. So it's a tab thing. He knows how to peak his teams at the right time.
Yes, exactly. The thing and the reason why I worry the most about UP is that on their day, their talent can really kill any team. And I mean that their first five alone, if all of them are hot, like parang uwi na tayo. Like, you know,
with the kind of talent they have, definitely.
With the kind of talent level they have, right? Like, even I don't think if all five of them are firing on against any team in the league, I don't know how anyone could beat them. That's how strong they are. I presume that's how the recruitment is. But because we're Lasal fans, diba? We all know the talent isn't everything, and we know that eventually, like something can happen there. But that's what I worry about the most. And the reason why I say I worry about it the most is because when we think about the Phil Oil final, we
Yes.
played decently. Like on a normal day, we'd probably be neck and neck with UP. And I thought we played quite well for what it was worth. But man, the shots that they were making were insane. And that's what I worry about. And I don't know how mature we are yet from a defensive standpoint to handle that. And you know how it's when those crazy shots are coming in, there's a lot of mental fortitude and resiliency to have to fight back. And that's what I haven't seen with this team yet. And that's what I worry the most about from a other school standpoint.
And we always have that recurring nightmare, G, of Kagulangan, ex-LSGH star player hitting that step back three to beat us. That's always
Yeah.
the fear of me. Yeah. How about you, Alfonso? Looking at other teams, do you feel the same as Gio? It's a team from Cavite, Diliman. Diliman and Katipunan. Joke lang yung Cavite. Baka may touch issue siya pala dyan. Diliman and Katipunan are the biggest contenders this season, or do you see some dark horses in the field?
Well, for me, Ateneo will always be a threat, regardless of the talent level, for as long as Tab Baldwin is there. Kaya dapat Tab Baldwin to Indonesia 2024.
Oh, doon na siya. That's your level, Tab. Di ba? Wag ka dito. Star sikat ka doon. Pang
Yeah.
broadcast.
He came to the Philippines to coach in the World Cup, but 3 World Cups have passed and he hasn't coached any of them. So, okay. Gio, I agree with all the points of Gio. Although it was that game against UP, wait and see if a player not named Alarcon or Juve can have an impact the same as Belmonte did against us in the Phil Oil final. So I mentioned Ateneo and UP was spoken about. NU I think is a dark horse to make the final, given that they are on the third season of Coach Jeff Napa's run, and he really coached them well last season. So he's one that's one school we shouldn't look past. For me, the outlier is or someone or a school that we really do not know about since they didn't join that much of the mainstream preseason leagues are UST. So we shall see if, how they shall fare, and how will an SMC back UST fare in their first season. And another thing is Coach Pido still the right coach in 2023? So that's an interesting development to watch on my end.
Yeah, correct. SMB is really could be a game changer. They showed it, of course, in the PBA with Letran, with Dundin's backing with us, right? So let's see if that turns into instant success in the first year, coming from the place where UST was coming from previous seasons where they really had to rebuild. Okay, now that before we go into predictions, Alfonso brought up a good point earlier. Gio, what should be the expectations be for Topex this season? It's his first year as coach. College coaches, they usually get a 4-year, 5-year, one life cycle as a life cycle of their coaching staff, right? You get 4 years to build your team, bring your coach and peak. But at the same time, there's expectation to win now, given the amount of talent we have. What these should be Topex expectations for the season?
I think in this case it's a little bit more complex for Topex because Lasalle has never been patient with coaches not making it to the Final Four. And I think that's probably the absolute minimum expectation for him. Look, I would give him 4 years, like as a fan, like if we had a decent showing, even if we didn't make the Final Four, all hypothetically. But I think with the talent he has at his disposal, it has to be at the very least a Final Four. And I know that's a safe answer, but I genuinely think we can push for a twice to beat advantage. And that's, I think, the best the easiest way for that's the easiest way for us to, if ever, have a shot at the championship. Anything less than twice to beat will be quite difficult.
Yeah, that's a good point. But although to add the 4 years, we've seen it. We've always talked about that the coaches get 4 years, 5 years. But of course, it has to be 4 years of progress or development happening every year. It can't just be just stale for the 3 years. It's like something to change in that fourth year, right? There's always has to be that aspect to that. Um, so how about you, Alfonso? How do you see the do you, same as Gio? Do you think it should we should get a final four, of course, the bare minimum? But do you think that the twice to be this reachable?
To be honest, if I wanna be, it's not for me. It's not unreasonable with this lineup that expectations would be placed on Topex for him to make at least the finals. And then let's see, because it's not like his team is starting from scratch. This is already built team to win it all. But on a broader scope, I guess a success. I know the question is for this season, but I think a successful coaching stint, especially in LaSalle standards, is, let's say in 3 years you make the final for every season, and then you win the championship at least once. I think that will prolong his stint in LaSalle, which um, with what he's bringing, and I hope he really stays long.
Oh,
Yeah.
but given the talent level that Topek has at disposal, shouldn't we expect a finals appearance? Is that how you see it this year? Or you're gonna give him that?
It wouldn't be
Yeah.
unreasonable for it to be mandated on him, given the talent level, to make the finals at least. If
Yeah, I
it
think
was a rebuilding, let's say if it was a 2 3 years in the making roster, I would say just making the final four we should be happy. But you have two senior guards starting in Nonoy
exactly.
and Elia. You have an MVP candidate in Kiambao. You have Mike Phillips, who this offseason should have improved given his exposure in the SEA Games in Cambodia, given the adversity they faced there. And overall, you have 2 seasons of winning the two off seasons of winning the D League. So I mean, everything is there. You have a good coaching staff. You have a good supporting staff. Injuries aside, which is a big aside because you don't know how that will pan out. Everything's there for you to win.
All right. Okay, now with that, I'll go back to you and throw back the question. So what's your protected final four and who will make the finals and championship? So let's put it on the spot here. Gia?
I think a lot of the fine. I think the top two make. I think the top two will make the championship. That's
Okay.
probably like the season. Whoever's 1 and 2 makes it, and I think
Who's who? Go
1
ahead.
2 3 will be LaSalle, Ateneo, and UP.
In that
And,
order?
and I hope it's in that. I hope it's in that order. I hope it's in that order. Yes, I would
Hmm.
hope it's in that order. And the final spot will go to NU this season.
And okay.
I
How about
think.
you, Alfonso?
Uh,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah,
Gia.
I think LaSalle will come out of the gates very, very, very strongly, and I think that we might falter a little bit in the second round, but it's important to be in that number one, number two spot after if we for a little bit of insurance. But that's what I think might happen this season.
Okay. How about you, Alfonso?
I agree with Gio. On paper, again, barring injuries, UP and LaSalle have the materials and the coaching competencies to make the first two seats for the twice to beat advantage. Uh, Ateneo, we will see, but I agree with Gio. They will peak at the right time. Nobody expected them to finish the eliminations with the first seed last season, and well, nobody expected us to not even make the final four last season. So that's how it was. And NU should sneak in there. Adamson is sort of semi-rebuilding because Jerome Lastimosa is injured to a certain extent, and then
Yeah, I'm kind of worried
they
about. I'm kind of worried about that on a side note, him not getting surgery. But yeah, anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
UST NUE UST is the biggest X factor because nobody knows how they will perform. On UE, we have to see, given the turnover their players, how their new recruits will quickly settle in, and if it will result into a volume of wins, a number of wins for them to make the final four. FEU, I think, is really rebuilding under Coach Denok. So let's see.
All right. So unbiased, Gio, who will be champion? One word, one answer.
I hate to say unbiased.
Unbiased, of course. We know our biased answers.
Yeah. I think UP might sneak it this year. I think UP might sneak it in this year. I think their
All
talent
right.
is just way too much, and the fact that they got LeBron Lopez across the line plus a
Somehow.
intact lineup. They have a very intact lineup, man. Like Cancino's still there, Mai is still there, Terrence Forte is still there, man. It'll
Yeah.
be
How about you? How about you, Alfonso?
The easiest answer will be UP, because I mean, if they don't even at least make the finals, baka it will be Coach Goldwyn on the hot seat next season. But um on paper it should really be a UP Lasalle finals, but I can't really look past Coach Tab
Yeah, to paraphrase
and
shot tab.
and NU.
Paraphrase shot tab is tab. Diba? Oh, okay. So so yeah, so there's but
UP is
hopefully
UP ba?
let's hope not. But hopefully our unbiased answers, our unbiased predictions, those are the ones that actually turn out and happen this year. Okay, so that was our UAP preview. Just want to touch on real quick before we end the day. What do you guys make of the? We saw a tentative schedule release. I'm not sure. We don't know if it's final, but we saw the UP. I think the games are on Wednesdays. There'll be 4 games a day on Wednesdays, on most Wednesdays for the first round at least. What do you guys make of a very odd schedule, Gio?
Oh,
I I want whatever they're smoking there, right? Like
Over in Directo. Yeah.
yeah, I want whatever that is that they're able to bring it out, right? Like, and I mean, no disrespect to the other schools or anything, but come on, man, like the UAAP is for what it's worth, needs to generate income, and putting your marquee games on a Wednesday and Ateneo Lasal on a Wednesday just doesn't make sense.
in MOA.
In
In
MOA,
MOA.
it
If
doesn't.
it was 7:30 in Araneta, bias
Sure,
kung bias, maybe I can see the logic.
sure, I agree.
Talagang prime time.
I agree. That's fine. Like 7:30 Araneta, there's an MRT that goes straight into the Coliseum. You can park if you work in Makati, you know where to park. If you work in there are so many ways to get in there. But MOA, come on, man. Like it's too much. It's too much. So
Yeah,
I hope they adjust that schedule.
I
And
know there are a lot of like logistics issues behind the scenes and scheduling, but it doesn't get to me that we're a school based league, and we have students going to school in the morning, the afternoon. We have alumni who go
yeah,
to work. And we schedule games in the morning and in
yeah,
the afternoon where we can push on the weekdays, right? It never made sense. I'm sure there are reasons for it logistically, but in the US they place all weekday games at prime time. So
exactly.
maybe it's something to explore, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And there's really some level of predictability here, right? Like we know that the UAP happens this time of the year. And we've heard from before, like when LaSalle hosts the league, they reserve the venues two years in advance, 18 months in advance,
Yep.
way before, because when you're the host, right? So again, I don't know whatever they're smoking in Recto, but
Yeah, we have a 1 game in UST. Yeah, this round if the schedule is final, unless they're fixing it.
Baka it's their way to get people to use their streaming apps. Mas importante ata yung analytics nila, seeing how the audience who use the streaming apps rather than filling up the venues.
Grabe. But yeah, the thing about it, streaming and TV will be higher even though it was in a prime time slot. Yeah, and
yeah,
but
exactly.
that scheduling is really weird. Quickly, Alfonso, any final thoughts on the schedule?
G already said my frustrations. So I mean, but yeah, well, possible fear in my end is maybe at least for the predominantly MOA and schedule this location this first round. Maybe Araneta is wanting the second round games to fully open up their gateway to mall just in time. That's just a personal theory. But other than that, to Gia's point, 7 p.m. on a Wednesday, MOA for Ateneo Lasal, Ateneo UP, which are your biggest games of the season. You're not really inspiring people to come watch live.
Yeah, I remember when they first 2007, they had I think it was Salle game on a Wednesday. And they were and it was UC hosted, and they were I think the logic then was, you know, people will watch anyway, whether it's a weekday or a weekend. But still, I think it's a lost opportunity. Always have your prime games on those prime slots, right? Yeah. So let's see how the UAP schedule. We'll talk about it more if it continues to be a problem. Let's see the final schedule comes out. So there, that was our UAP season preview for DLSU men's basketball. Thank you, Gio. Thank you, Alfonso, for giving the time, giving your thoughts. So everyone, watch out. It's our first game on this Sunday, right? Against FEU.
Oh, FEU.
FEU, our favorites. Watch them turn into an NBA team on Sunday suddenly. So watch out. We'll have an instant reaction after that game here on Quiver. So make sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and our other social media platforms. We'll also be working to get closer together with Take Aim probably this season. So watch the space, watch out for that. So hopefully we have a bright new season ahead, fresh start, and hopefully we're wrong about our predictions. Hopefully our unbiased ones come true with this coming out on top. So thanks, Gio. Thanks, Alfonso. And as we say,
Animo.
Animo
Lasal.
Lasal. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening.